morning. Rose-colored glasses. Beer goggles. I should have called it beer goggles. Half of the people would understand what that is if I got a good audience, a good mix. Good morning. Beer goggles. I should have called it beer goggles, I was just saying. Exquisite bouquet. Ah, my rose. Tinted glasses. It's my rose tinted glasses. That's the exquisite bouquet. Are we fooling ourselves? The sages teach us you have to see yourself like a Russia. A wicked person. Why would they say that? It says you're not supposed to see yourself as a Russia. So why would they tell you to see yourself like a Russia? As a Russia? Did that bother you when you learned Tanya? It bothers me when I see that a major message we're telling our children is that really they're wicked. And people use Tanya to back this up. But the Rebbe explains what that means. You got to put it through the tinted glasses of the Rebbe to understand what things mean. If you're going to take them out of context and therefore distort things. Chas v'shalom. Don't see yourself like a Russia. That is bechitzenius. That's the superficial tendency of a person to be a behemoth, to be an animal. But inside, who are you? What's your true identity? What will propel you forward and help you conquer? It's your identity of being a chelik elikam imam mamish, part of God, which becomes, of course, the whole process of anyone who's on this world for the right reason will come to pursue the goal of discovering that. In what sense are they this infinite being, chelik elikah? In what sense? How can I realize that? How can I make that happen? Because essentially, that's what the Rebbe is teaching us about Mashiach, and I don't think everybody realizes that. It's not a political, people are so political minded that they say there has to be a king ruling on a throne and giving directions. That's true. But it's not happening that way right now in a way that there's like someone to go to and polish his shoes on a throne. We don't have that. So we have to do our part, which means to internal the spiritual mindset. And the Rebbe talks about this at such length, the importance of doing this in the times of exile, before you have your Pop-Tarts of spiritual revelations. The sparklers going off and everything is real and tangible. Shalom, Roberto. The Rebbe says in the times of exile, that's when you're going to live with Mashiach. You're going to have that type of paradoxical existence predating a time where everyone's going to have that. Who's going to be the ones first to that front line? Who are the soldiers in this battle? It's people who are listening now and caring about these topics, not necessarily to me, but are involved with doing this. People who take this seriously and are willing to make some sacrifices for it. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices. So the Tanya Sefer Shel Beinanim, it's the book of the Beinani. What is the Beinani? What's the middle dude? He's a warrior. It's the most dynamic and most pervasive. Most people are striving to be Beinanim today. I think it's a mistake, mind you. Good morning. I think we should strive to be more than a Beinani. We also take a Shvuah tzaddik. You took an oath you're going to become a tzaddik. If you're going to become a Beinani in the meanwhile, okay, fine. That's the first step on a journey. But where are you going? And how do you get the power to succeed as a Beinani if that's who you are? Halavai Beinani, right? Halavai, I should be that. So what is this Beinani, and why are we warning him? Take it. You're supposed to see yourself like a wicked person? He's going out to battle, he's going to lose the war? This Beinani, this dynamic person who could go from one extreme to the other in a second, who's like living in the moment because forever he's considered, he will never go off the path. He's completely devoted to God. He does Taryag mitzvahs with his hands tied behind his back. And sometimes he has to fight, like headbutting people and stuff too, because he never gives his guard down. So Tanya's concerned lest someone give their guard down and say, you know what? I'm a tzaddik, I don't have to fight this Nefesh Bahamas. Maybe the guy's going to sit back and not push himself. That's what the fear is, okay? But we have to put this in context. To what extent do we emphasize that? Because I have sources that tell you that it doesn't apply to everybody. It applies to certain people. Good morning. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to get to all these sources, but we'll tease some things that, if we can't get to them, at least we should be fascinated by ideas. We're learning about yesterday about Tzivas Hashem, the Rebbe's army, the name that he named Tzivas Hashem, is spoken about in Chassidus and Basilagani. What does it mean, the hosts of God, the army of God? The defining moment when we came out of Mitzrayim, we became God's foot soldiers. And Beinani, the Veda, the determination to perfect yourself like a warrior, is the most pervasive mindset that we have to take on. That's our mission. So we have to be cautious, in a sense. We can't let our guard down. You have to see that you're at a battle, lest you sit on the lawn chair of life and never really push yourself to what you could have been. So even the tzaddik, okay, so she'ena gomer, a non-complete tzaddik, has to contend with this idea that he can't let rest on his own laurels, the lawn chair of existence, and say, I already fought this thing. I'm just gonna enjoy I'm gonna have a Club Med God experience. I mean, the Club Med's a bad example because that's very dynamic. I'm gonna have the beach bum. Whatever's convenient for me. Maybe they could push themselves further. So they're enjoined. I have a source that says it's not true though. Let's just read that. Oh, don't tell me I can't find. Here it is. There's no harm in a tzaddik knowing that he's a tzaddik. Really? Here doesn't say tzaddik gomer. I got another source for that. Maybe. It's not as... This is Rebbe Maharash. Okay, so this is a real source. There's no fear, there's no harm in a tzaddik knowing that he's a tzaddik. The only concern is of one who is not a righteous dude, meaning someone who could walk through a wall. No, someone who's driven to serve God. That he should not be mistaken in this. Someone who's not a tzaddik, as in this week's chapter that we're focused on, the 13th chapter of Tanya. The ikra hazhara hi shaloi yismaik al masha ha'elam kula yamrim lai. And the main concern or caution is that he should not rely on the world telling him that he's a tzaddik. He has to know from his own indications, and we'll see what those are. And the fact that there are many tzaddikim who testified about themselves that they were righteous. It's specifically because they didn't believe others in telling them that they were tzaddikim. It's the reverse usually. You want to know whether you're doing something altruistically. Are you reaching out to another? Is it for yourself or for another? Do you want to lead by example in a way you want to be proud of? Then you should say, would I be proud if my children were doing this? The litmus test in terms of a Veda is usually, say, is it for the other? Here we're saying, when it comes to identifying yourself, don't listen to what the world is telling you. And it's the world of Torah. I had another, maybe it says here, the world of Torah, not just the world, the people on the streets, what they're telling you. Yeah, go for it, dude. Yeah, high five. We all are heroes, are sports heroes, or something completely irrelevant. That's who we idolize, which is absurd. The people who are really, we always high five people when they come back from Club Med. Good for you. Yeah, you played golf for all the whole day. That's awesome. Not the guy who's like visiting the sick in the hospital. I know someone that does that. But he gets a lot of attention. He probably gets a lot of adulation also because he's very charismatic. But not everyone's gifted with that. And there's still people suffer in the dark and help other people all the time. And who high fives? I worked all day cleaning up after old people because they didn't have proper... Who's going to high five that guy? Nebuch. What have pity on you. I was in Club Med. This guy's on the front line cleaning up, mopping up on the front line. And nobody's high-fiving him. That's not very, what's the word? I forget the word. Good. The fact that many tzaddikim testified about themselves as tzaddikim, they didn't listen to what the world's telling them. There were other proofs. And they were in fact tzaddikim. So for those people who have their own signs, we didn't describe what they were. But probably if you wake up in the morning saying, yes, God! Yeah! Yes! If that's how you wake up, it's pretty good. That's probably a sign that you're a tzaddik. Still, we have the question of how we advise other people. What's the main identity? You identify with this part of you. You're supposed to do that. It's not enough that you know your shortcomings. You also have to know what you're capable of. And if you fail to live up to that. So therefore, non-identifying as the tzaddik. How do you identify? Which Beis HaKisei do you go to? Identify as a tzaddik. That I need a special... The tachtonim for me have to be completely different. How do you identify? You identify as a tzaddik? If you know where you're going to be, tracht good, but side good applies here too. You think good will be good. The rose-tinted glasses of the universe, the optimism, is something that we do have to embrace. Know that it's underlying everything. Yes, it looks sometimes like the end of the world. It's meant to bring out in you strengths that you want to forget about. So look inside authentically. Decide, what are your advantages? Even if they're ethical and you'd say you're the greatest guys in sliced bread. You make such a calculation. That is more of a burden than anything else. You're the one that has to go with the non-appreciated role sometimes. God forbid. You deserve to be praised for all your good. The world can tell you it's not going to harm you, and it's not going to harm them. That we idolize someone else than someone who could slam dunk and alley-oop. That's what we... It's just like ridiculous. That's what we paid the billions of dollars for. Okay, so do that too. Enjoy sports and pay the billions of dollars because there's enough to go around. If we have enough people out there that actually can devote themselves to something more pneumius. If we could celebrate Madiani in the morning also, then the basketball has a place too. And you know that's true. Okay, so I didn't do like 1/10 of what I wanted to do, but that will suffice for today. I think we cover the topic. Rose-colored glasses. Tracht good, but sein good. If you see things, they're actually going to be that way. So a wise person told me that this means that if you think good, if you have that moment of faith that God is good ultimately, it's not this apathetical admis that creates this whole world that they just bounce like billiard balls and be in a good slot to score. And if not, you're just going to bounce forever in the universe. So trust that there is a path, there is light in your life, and you're meant to go somewhere good for you. So the rose tinted, I didn't finish this thought. That if you have that faith, that your creator is a good guy to you, your bestie, if you have that faith, That's Zayin good. Then it's actually going to be that way. Why? Okay, so this is one thing I actually have to read inside. If I can find it. Very short. Okay, now here. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, let's end on this thought because you can't get better than this. Yes, I had a whole sikha, 15 pages I wanted to learn with you, but whatever. Next time. It's a footnote here about when you're in the darkness of Egypt, you could be in a state of redemption. You could live, you could hack the whole system. While the whole world is suffering around you, chas v'shalom, and you have to help them, yes. That's why you're coming first, to help the whole process. Good morning. So the Rebbe quotes the beautiful Gemara on Sanhedrin Tzadik Ches Amud Aleph. Zachu achishena. No, be'ita achishena. Zachu achishena. The pasuk in Yeshaya in Isaiah says, "In its time I will rush it forth." The exile, in the time right now, I'm going to rush it forth. Pachas kamayim lamal yusa. The positive of the rushing water is this achishena. I'm going to rush it. He's going to rush forth the redemption, at least in some, let's say where it says, where, how it applies. Where's the strength for this? It's beautiful. When God is asking his son, you, to be victorious over him. And that's when you merit. When do you merit that God's going to speed up the redemption? So you're going to have it in the times of your darkness, in your exile. You're going to see you're coming out. So there's a process, becomes, you've achieved the end even during the process. This whole idea of you're there in the first step. If you merit, if they could be victorious over the Shekhinah. And to me that means you don't have to fight the Shekhinah, obviously. You appeal to the Shekhinah. I want to represent the Shekhinah, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu bestows upon the Shekhinah his goal, his Basi Legad, his garden, all the blessings that he wants to give, which is that this is the relationship that's described in Torah. That you got to understand that, or it's just words. It's just an intellectual pursuit with no real meaning. Think about this all the time when you're steiging away in Talmud all day. Then you're a holy person. Al derech mi meishel be. Who rules over me, God says? Tzaddik, the righteous one. HaKadosh Baruch Hu geizer, gzeirav at tzaddik, mevatlei. God decrees something, and the tzaddik dismisses it. Azachishena. When you become that guy, when you have a relationship with God that you feel so bestie with, that when you say something's important to you, and you're going to conquer him and say, even though he had his different plans for you and whatever, or for whoever, and he defers to you. That's the warrior that you always have to stay on guard about. And yes, the identity for that is seeing yourself like a tzaddik, because that's the goal, that you can bring in achishena now to have the power to conquer this exile and bring light in it, in the darkness. Have a great day.